Hey everybody, it's Mike Venus and I'm back and I'm gonna talk about 5 things I don't like and that you should probably know about the MPC and the Akai Force. Let's get into it. Number one, the program changes internally, right? That's a big thing. Okay. Um, I work standalone, right? So I don't use a DAW or hook up to a computer. So basically, I make everything within inside either the MPC or in the Akai Force by itself. And the reason why I say the number one thing is the program changes. Now, if I'm sending out program changes to an external synth or external drum machine, something like that, this thing is perfect. The MPC and the Force. But internally, no. And that's more or less because the plugins are samples. They're just like VSTs. They're sampled from either a real synth to emulate it, but it's just a sample based, multi-sample based instrument. So when you set program changes either in the MPC or in the Force to change to a different sound, it's like a almost like a full beat pause before it switches, and it's like pulling teeth. So if you like one of them people saying, well, I'm gonna get the box, I'm gonna get this, and I'm just gonna work with this, program changes internally is trash. Um, but if you hooking it, like if you're using this in conjunction with like a standard setup where you have like either a synthesizer as your sound modular or and it got banks and you can change the presets and stuff um or a drum machine, this thing is perfect. The NPC and the Force, right? So number one is the program changes. Number two is the song mode and the arranger. Now in the NPCs, they got something called the song mode. It's basically where it's a primitive form of putting your sequences together to create beats. And even though this is a modern piece of gear with all the advances, the NPC workflow is pretty much primitive when it comes to overall workflows, and it's a big jump because whenever I had switched from working in a DAW to working with one of these, the NPCs, um, that's the first thing I figured out. So like, even though they say, oh, you could do step automation and you could draw it in with your finger, you miss the crispiness, the well polished feel of when you mix and master in a DAW, when you add your automation, you do your panning and all that stuff. You can do it in this, but it will be very, very difficult. And it will take a level of skill to get it where it sounds really good. But you can. Not discouraging, but just let you know that. Like, especially on the MPC, it is a old school type workflow. It's his own language. So once you learn that, you do it pretty good. Now the Force, the arranger. The arranger, it's we'll say it's beta tested because of the fact that um when Akai released this, which was about a year ago, the 3.0.5 update, which brought in the arranger into the Akai Force, which I want to say this is the first standalone device that has a linear arranger. And it's like pulling teeth. It's not like Logic or GarageBand. It's damn sure it's not like Ableton. You know what I'm saying? Bitwig or Cubase or any of those polished DAWs. So if you get in the Force, right, understand like when it comes to arranging your beat in there, you can't approach it more or less like it's a DAW. Like where you can click in with the mouse and stuff. It's very like it's advanced, but it's still in the fetus stage. You know what I'm saying? They still need to work it out. Plus, I'm personally having issues once I lay down my scenes to form my beat, right? Because what I would normally do on the Force, I would create my different patterns, right, in the clips, and then I will arrange it on in the arrange the clips to a scene. So all I gotta focus on is launching the scenes whenever I'm setting my patterns to the arranger. But it's when you start to go put in automation and mixing and mastering to polish it up, because they say you can do everything in this machine. You can. The issue I'm having with the 3.1.3 update, which I feel like the 3.1.1 didn't really have that many problems. I didn't, but when I updated to the 3.1.3, I had some issues where when I went to go, after I laid my patterns down, I go to record the automation because I set my effects to my Q links, and I go to do it, and it's not even recording it. So I'm like, oh my god, you can't be kidding me right now. Like, this is some bullshit. Like, so just know that until they fix it, understand that that's something that you might run into with the arranger on the Akai Force. So that's number 2. Number 3, not all your gear is compatible with the Akai Force. I see a lot of people who try, they got different machines and they're trying to make them all communicate with the Force and with the MPC. And for the most part, it does pretty well. But the main one that is kind of like, it's not like clicking, is the Roland products. Like, people who got the Roland MC101, MC707, the keyboards, the drum machines, the TRS-8, the TR8? TR8S, am I saying it right? TR6S. So I was looking at like the little small ones, like the one I just said, the TR6S and the MC101. These are small. You can't hook it up and power it through USB. But the issue is that the Akai Force and the MPC don't really receive, they haven't set it up where they can receive MIDI and audio over USB, which that's part of the new Roland, lineup. So that's great with a DAW, but with these, no. You will have to use the 5-pin dung MIDI, more or less. And for some people, that's more cables, more of a headache. So just know that not all equipment or gear out there is, speak with the MPCs and the Force. That's number 3. Number 4. What's the thing? Number 4, I would say durability. Okay, I know a lot of people think, the whole thing, especially with the MPC Live, they're like, oh, this is, it's built to be portable. They can build on this stronger. Some of the older machines is built like a tank. Yeah, this is a little bit lightweight compared to, a 2500 MPC 2500. But this casing, and I got mine brand new, it just feels like it could easily get ripped off. You know what I'm saying? And I don't really like to move around with this, even though I can. It just doesn't feel as, built, to take a lot of punishment. And even the MPC one, the X, nobody ain't really moving that shit around. That thing's a tank. But I'm just talking about the Lives and the X. The Lives and the One. And even the Force, like the Force is built, I feel it's built way better, a little bit more solid than the MPCs, but The durability, like I said, the knobs, the sensitivity of the knobs, some of the pads, it's just, I know it wears out over time, but it's just some of these, like the Q links and the encoder knob is plastic, and it just feels kind of like this shit will pop off any minute. You know what I'm saying? So take that in consideration. That's number 4. And number 5, the fifth thing I don't like about this machine or these machines. The touchscreen. I don't like the touchscreen. I feel like the touchscreen is, you know, I wish it was an optional thing when it comes to the workflow. I really do. You know what I'm saying? Like, at first, like, I seen one dude, what is it, the midlife synthesis dude, I think that's his name or his channel, whatever. He was talking about the Live and the X. Now, I had already bought the Live, and I was not going to pay 2400 for the X. Hell no. Okay, stop. No. So he was like, well, with the X, it's more dedicated buttons. So a lot of the functions you got to do, it's easier to build muscle memory. You know what I'm saying? Even with the Force, even though the Force has more dedicated buttons, it still feel like my movements are not as fluid. And I work with these things daily, both of these machines daily. So it's not like, oh, I just got this like yesterday and I hopped on the cam and I'm just playing around with it. No, I'm seeking to master these things, like someone like Arab Music, who works only strictly with the MPC 2500. That's all I see him really working with. I know somebody would say, hey, he had the Live 2 and the X, and he was on the Renaissance, but it's called marketing, my nigga. When it comes to actually like getting busy, that's all you see him on, the 2500. And with that, it's strictly tactile and everything's dedicated, so you could build up a muscle memory. With these, a lot of the workflow, they force you to use the touchscreens, which is, to me, the most vexing part of the machine, both the NPCs and the Force. You know what I'm saying? I wish it could be more optional. And I wish the damn screens would tilt. Okay? The only one got a tilt screen is the X. None of the other models got it. Even the Force, which is supposed to be a flagship device, doesn't even have a lifted touchscreen. And I'm like, bro, I could work more longer. I could do more music if I wasn't just leant over like this all fucking day and my neck is getting like destroyed. And then the other thing is, somehow you might say, well, why don't you get you a stand? Okay, in the Force, I do use the headphones. If I get a stand, it's gonna block my access to using the headphones. Cause sometimes I don't want it blasting over the speakers. You know what I'm saying? I just want to make a beat and have the headphones in. So that doesn't really work with that situation. The MPC, yeah, I could set it up on that, but because I don't work using these pads as much because I don't like how they feel, I use my Launchpad Pro Mark 3. It's like, okay, you know what I'm saying? So the touch screen, like I see where they're going, but the touch screen to me is such a burden at times, to the point that it's just like I don't even want to really get on this. That's why you see me, I just be on this, because I know I could build up muscle memory using the Launchpad Pro Mark 3 than over here touching the screen. But I do have to touch the screen because it's not an option. You know what I'm saying? So, hopefully that's the fifth thing. So, like, I know a lot of people see that like, oh wow, it's got a touch screen, and then they ask other companies like Machine and Ableton with the Push 2. Who else got another thing out there? Like other devices that have a screen on it. And it's like it's a reason why theirs doesn't have a screen for you to touch and be fucking with, because everything that's on the machine has a dedicated button or a secondary function that is easy to build up a muscle memory. So yeah, that's my top 5 cons of both of these machines, the X and the Force. So hopefully this was informative, because I be on the channel and I do, because I work with these, and I stand by them in the sense, like, yeah, I can make decent music with these, very good music, but they need to work on that. They need to work on the program changes internally. They need to work on the song mode and the arranger. They need to work on um, accepting MIDI and audio through USB compliant, like, be able to communicate well with other gear like Roland, because Roland makes some nice stuff too. Not everybody use Akai Pro stuff with their stuff, you know what I'm saying? And also, you know, build these things better, bro, so that I don't feel like I'm gonna break this shit. You know what I'm saying? And fifthly, please, if you're gonna make you make a line of the Forces, please, with the Force 2, if they make one. I'm not saying they are. Don't try to put me out there and say, hey, Mike said no. I'm just saying, if they do, please put a tilt screen. Even if it costs more, I will pay for that shit. It is necessary. Jesus, I don't want to get scoliosis and be like a hunchback all fucking day. It's not like I have like the smallest head, nigga. I got this big ass, massive, mastodon head with this like non-existing neck because I'm like this all day, okay? And I'm doing that shit to pop it. So please put touchscreens, and please make it optional for people who don't really want to use it like that. Okay, it shouldn't be that dominant in the workflow to the point that it's impossible to build some type of muscle memory. So with that, sorry it's so long, but I had to say something. And with this, y'all be blessed. Subscribe, share, like, comment, and I'll be back and I will respond to your comments. So with that, y'all be blessed. Mike out.